Welcome everyone to Sunshine Ladies and Raveling Tales, where a group of bookish friends take you on a reading journey. We bring you TBR recommendations, exclusive bookish interviews, and event shenanigans. I'm Carrie, and on today's episode, I'm going to be joined by Reid.
Yes.
Join us in our excitement as we chat with our next author, Olivia Boothe, who will be attending Romantasy Book Convention in Orlando later this year. It's so nice to meet you, Olivia. Thank you for taking time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to meet you too.
Of course. For anyone not familiar with you or your work, please tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you known for, and how did you get into writing?
All right. So I write both fantasy romance and contemporary romance. Most recently, I've been working on fantasy romance. I would say that I'm known most for my Hell's Angel series, which is a post-apocalyptic fantasy romance, and most recently my Spirit Mark series, A Dream of Blood and Magic, which is book one of a planned trilogy. I started writing about 13 years ago. That's when I decided to finally give it a go, but I'd really been a storyteller since I was about 12 years old. That's when my dreams were to become a filmmaker. That's how I wanted to tell stories. That's what I went to school for. I did a lot of screenwriting, but it wasn't until much later in my life that I realized that books were really more my passion, though I still love movies. So, yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you would like to say to a potential new fan out there?
I mean, my stories are pretty much, character driven. And so I aim to entertain and to, if my goal is to entertain my readers. And if I don't entertain you, then I feel like I failed. So, I spend a lot of time crafting my stories to make sure that I give a polished product and that I deliver a good experience. So that is my goal to any new reader that's out there.
Well, that's awesome. All right, Olivia, with any of your characters, who will you tempt, treasure, or toss from your books? And so full disclaimer, this podcast is rated R. So we're talking romantasy, right? So tempt, treasure, or toss, and you get to pick any of your characters from any of your books. And basically it's like a fuck, marry, kill, right?
Okay, so I would say tempt would be Kane from the Spirit Mark series, A Dream of Blood and Magic. He's a very broody vampire with a hard shell to crack. So he would be fun to tempt. Yeah. Treasure, I would say Jax Constantine from my Hell's Angel series, because he's dark but also goofy. And he's a perfect blend of a German Shepherd / Golden Retriever type of vibe. Yeah. And then toss. So I would say Samuel from also the Hell's Angel series. He is aka Lucifer. Seductive. He's hot. He's a bad boy, but he's also very narcissistic and evil and vile. And so, I know a lot of readers love to fall for the villain, but in this case, this villain needs to get tossed. So.
Okay. All right. As we talk about your writing process, how would you describe the creative process from the ideas in your head to the pages in our hands?
So when an idea pops into my head, I usually let it percolate for several weeks. I'm getting to know the characters in my head. I'm trying to understand how they want their story to be told. I'll typically start listening to music that matches the vibe, and I'll listen to an album on repeat all day for many days until it just kind of becomes part of my blood, and I am able to sit down and then match those vibes to the story. And, once I start writing, I'm very much a pantser. When it comes to, I've done collabs with other authors where we've co-written a book, and in those instances you do need to plot. But if I'm on my own, a pantser is my most natural way to go. But I also have a terrible habit of not being able to move on until the previous chapter is completed. So I will spend days, sometimes even weeks, perfecting a chapter before I move on to the next. So by the time I'm done with the book, it's pretty much the first and final draft before it goes to the editor. And then at that point, throughout the process, I have alpha readers, and those are folks that read as I write. And then I have beta readers, who are the people that get the book before it goes to the editor. And then once I'm done with the round of beta readers, it goes to the editor. Then it goes to ARC readers, and then it goes to publication. So that's my writing process.
Okay. Well, you mentioned music. Do you like to create playlists for each of your books, as you're writing? I know a lot of authors do that.
I've never done playlists really, but there's certain artists that I will listen to. Most recently, I've been listening to a lot of Sleep Token, Bad Omens. I feel like I've been writing really dark books, so they kind of fit the vibe,
yeah, right.
But not necessarily a playlist. Well, Evanescence is huge for me right now in what I'm writing. A lot of feminine rage and feminine power. So Yeah, it's more vibes than necessarily a particular song. It's just, the sound of the music versus the lyrics, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Olivia, if you could live in one of the worlds you have created, which one would you choose and why?
Probably the one that I'm creating right now. So I'm working on a Norse-inspired Jack Frost retelling, Romantasy, which was birthed out of, back in December, I published the third book in my Hell's Angel series. And the Hell's Angel series is very dark themed, and I was in a very dark place and I needed something fun and spicy. And so I wrote a Christmas novella that was supposed to be just whimsical and spicy and silly. And in that Christmas novella, Santa Claus has a son who does not want to take up the mantle, and he throws him like a courtship bash where he's got to pick a wife. Okay, so it's very silly but very spicy. But in that story, Jack Frost makes an appearance, and for some reason or other, it's a tiny little snippet. But when I started getting reviews from folks, people wanted Jack's story, and I'm like, okay. And so this whole new world came to life about Jack Frost, and it became a full-blown fantasy romance. And what I say by full-blown is that in the books that I've written before, they've taken place in our world. So Hell's Angel series is a post-apocalyptic New York City. The Spirit North series takes place in New York, but also Scotland. Even if you travel to different realms, it's primarily our contemporary world. Son of Ice, which is the working title for this book, takes place in a completely fantasy world. And I love the challenge of being in there. I love the challenge of creating from scratch. And so I would say that's probably where I would want to live, but also because I'm so immersed in that world right now.
I love that title too. That's so cool.
Yeah. All right. You have a wide range of genres and tropes written so far. Do you tend to alternate between different types, like dark fantasy or contemporary, or do you just stick with one at a time? Can you easily flip back and forth?
So I began writing in the contemporary romance genre, and I liked it, and I had a lot of fun there. But since writing that duet, I would say 10 years ago, I haven't gone back. I have a spin-off to that duet, but I only have the skeleton of that story. Once I did my first fantasy romance / paranormal romance, I fell in love, and I haven't gone back. I feel like this is where I feel my most creative. When it comes to contemporary romance, it's really hard. You would think that that it's easier to build worlds, but it's hard to keep someone's attention for, 300 pages when all you have is two people's, relationship and nothing really else going on in the world to keep somebody's attention. So I find that actually harder to write versus creating worlds from scratch. Even though it is hard in its sense, it's just, I think for me, it's where I feel the most comfortable. For the last few years, I've been in that world, in fantasy world, and I don't know when I'll go back to contemporary, but I haven't forgotten those characters in that world, and hopefully one day I'll be able to finish that spinoff.
Okay.
All right. So, Olivia, we are going to be at Romantasy BookCon here in Orlando in October, and you are as well. So we're very excited to meet you in person. Is there any one thing that you're looking forward to coming for the con? Any other authors that you would like to meet? I know sometimes you guys don't really have a chance to explore it much.
So I was super stoked when I found out that I was invited. I was shocked, really, because it was, Romantasy Con. It's a big deal. And I've been to book cons before, but it's been more romance centered, like contemporary, biker, dark romance. This is my first fantasy romance centered BookCon, and it's a different readership. I feel like fantasy romance readers are more voracious and they have certain expectations. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited, right? So they have expectations of special edition books and lots of art. And so, I'm finding it I have to amp my game now to go to something like this. And it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of the influencers that I see online, right? Because a lot of them are going to this event. You interact with them, but then you're actually going to get to see them. The same thing goes with a lot of the authors. There's a lot of big name authors that are going to be attending. I'm hoping to see Evie Marceau because I've seen her a lot through my mutuals. I did read one of her books. And so it'd be fun to interact with her. In terms of all the other authors, I don't think I've ever met any of them in person before, so it'll be fun just to hang out with people that are like-minded, readers and authors alike.
Yeah, we try to be super welcoming, so don't be nervous. Everybody's gonna love you.
Is there a story from your childhood maybe that fostered your love of books? whether it was a certain book or whether it was just something that happened that just made you fall in love with reading?
So interestingly enough, I didn't start actually reading until I was out of college. So for most of my youth, I was primarily focused in movies. So I had it was my way of escaping. I had a bit of a challenging childhood, and watching movies was my way of escaping. And through that, my love for storytelling came to life. And so I can't say that I have a childhood book that inspired me to write, but the first book that I ever read that I really loved was called Map of Bones by James Rollins. And it was a military action adventure type of drama. And I started binging all his books. And after that, I became a voracious reader, but I didn't start until I was after. Which is a little embarrassing, but
it's okay. No, I'm the same way. So yeah, I grew up on TV and movies and didn't really get into reading until Harry Potter, and I was already post high school at that point. So yeah, totally okay. So on your website, you have a quote that I absolutely love. It says, "Deadly hot romance with deep layered plots, because it's not just about the first kiss and the happily ever after. It's about everything in between." I love that quote. So what does this phrase mean for you, and what can your readers expect from your stories?
So one of the first rules of writing that you learn in this business is a formula. And the formula is boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. And in romance in particular, readers have a certain expectation, right? You know that the M and C and the F and C are going to fall in love. You know they're going to have some type of a fallout. And you know eventually they're going to have a happily ever after, right? So how do you keep readers coming back when we know what the formula is? And the way you keep them coming back is by making the in-between. How you get to those plot points is what keeps readers coming back. And that's very important to me because I want that happily ever after to feel earned. And so I put the characters through the ringer. I put the reader through a ringer. And then when they get to the end, it feels like, yes, I knew this was coming, but it feels like they really earned it. And so that's what my books are about. It's part of the reason why it takes me forever to write. It takes me about a year to pump out a book. But that's because I really put my heart and soul into every single one. Reader experience is always in the back of my mind. Like I want the readers to be immersed. I want them to cry. I want them to be angry. And I want them to want to throw the book across the room. And then I want them to pick it back up and fall in love. So,
I love that.
So that's what that quote means.
Truly, those are the best books, though. The ones that really do make you like get into it, yell at it, throw it. All the ones that I can think of that are like my absolute favorites. Yeah, exactly. Or the ones that make you go, what did I just read?
Wait, what does that say? I can't see.
It says emotionally attached to fictional characters.
Yes. 100%.
Very accurate. Yeah. All right. So you did kind of touch a little bit on the why behind your passion. Is there anything else that kind of fuels you and why you want to write, or who do you write for? Is there any other driving force there in your work?
It's primarily wanting to entertain. Like I said, growing up, watching movies was my escape. And I realized that, being able to build worlds and build a world where you can be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do, was so fulfilling to me that I wanted to be able to give that to other folks, right? So if I know that someone who's going through a challenging moment in their life picks up my book and it makes, they can escape and they can feel great for a little while, then that is what drives me. And literally, that is why I wanted to make movies. And that's why I want to write books. I want to be able to offer that escape to other people.
My favorite kind.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
All right. So we'll play a little this or that. You already said you're a pantser. So plotter versus pantser.
Definitely pantser.
Yep. Morning or night?
Night.
Traditional publishing or indie publishing?
Wow, that depends. I would say right now I'm 100% indie, but if somebody came to me with the right number, I might flip.
There you go.
That's the honest truth.
I love it. Pen and paper or keyboard?
Keyboard.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Writing collabs or writing alone?
I've done both, and I would say that it's a lot easier to do alone. Writing collab could be fun if you find the right partner, right? So if somebody has to match your style and they have to match your work ethic, otherwise it's a nightmare.
For sure. Like group projects in school, right? Realistic men or paranormal men?
Paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Character-driven or plot-driven?
Character-driven, 100%.
And then books without spice or a clunky narration?
Clunky narration, like in terms of audiobooks? Or you mean like the writing?
Yeah, like the POV.
I would probably just rather no spice than have computer narration.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then e-reader or physical reader?
I'm an e-reader, but I'm also an audiobook listener.
Yes.
I would say
Okay.
audiobook, e-reader, and then physical. That is my order.
Okay. If you could cast your favorite book for a visual adaptation, since you love film so much, I figured this would be a great question for you. Who would you put in which roles?
Are you talking like one of my favorite books? Like books that I've written?
Yeah, like, is there one that you could, like, in your head that you're like, I know who I want to cast in this?
Well, who I would have casted.
Yeah.
So when I was writing A Dream of Blood and Magic, it's about two vampire brothers, and Cain and Azrael. And the two people that I've had in my head from day one has been Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston from the Avengers.
Please. Yes, please.
Yes.
Please.
It's not only the way they look, that's exactly how Cain and Azrael look, but also their dynamic, right? They hate each other, but they're also brothers, and they will, so that's who I've envisioned. And when I had my artist create the character art for the book, I told her, listen, this is my inspiration, play with it. They don't have to look exactly like that, but I pictured Thor and Loki, okay? So.
Love it. All right, Olivia, can you let us in on your favorite setting to write in? So paint the picture for us when you do your best creating.
It has to be 100% quiet. You know, I told you I'd listen to music, but that's like my pre-work. When I'm actually writing, I need absolute silence. So that's why usually at night is when I do most of my writing, when my kids and my husband, everybody's asleep. I need to have my dog by me, and she's my writing buddy. And it's very dim lighting. Like I said, quiet. My dog's there. I have about 2 packs of gum that I chew the whole thing, both packs in one sitting. I have a handful of gummy worms and a latte. So I drink a lot of coffee even at night. It's the only way. It's my fuel, and that's what it looks like. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing crazy, and that's how I do my best work.
Love it.
And I do my best plotting in the shower. I don't know why.
Because all the best ideas come in the shower.
No,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's
Or
also like the
driving,
inconvenient. Right? Yeah, I was going to say the most inconvenient times, like when you're driving or in the shower and you can't get to anything.
Exactly.
All right. For anyone new to your work, which book of yours would you recommend that they start with?
I mean, I guess it really depends on their mood or what they prefer. So, for example, if you like more of a fast burn type of dark fantasy romance, then the Hell's Angels series for sure. It's also a completed trilogy, so you can binge it. It's coming out in audiobook. The first book's coming out probably at the end of August, and hopefully the whole trilogy will be in audio, by the beginning of 2026. But if you enjoy more of a slow burn, slower pace, then I would say A Dream, Blood, and Magic. That is a series that takes a lot of groundwork, a lot of world building at the beginning. It's very slow burn, but once we get to book 2, which is what I'm currently also working on, it picks up. So the spice picks up and the action picks up. So it really depends the kind of reader that you are. I mean, and if you just like billionaires, then my contemporary romance, that'll scratch that itch.
Okay.
Love a good billionaire.
Yeah. No, it's phasing out. People don't like billionaires that much anymore, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fair. So for all of your newest fans, including us, we know, but where can they find you on your socials, and what's coming next for all things Olivia Boothe, which you kind of talked about?
Okay. So I'm most active on Instagram. I feel like that's where I engage most with my readers. But I also am on TikTok and on Facebook. But I would say if you want to be able to interact with me most, Instagram is definitely it. In terms of what's coming next, the Spirit Mark Book 2, A Dream of Frost and Midnight, is releasing next May. And I'm also working, like I said, on Son of Ice, but I don't have a release date for that yet. But hopefully soon.
I'm super excited for that one, and I need to pop in the Christmas read like this winter.
That Christmas story will surprise you. It's super spicy, it's silly, but it's whimsical, and I don't know, it caught people's attention. Yeah, I thought it was going to be either people going to hate it or they're going to love it. Yep, I think they fell somewhere in between, but they really want Jack, so they're going to get Jack.
On the TBR right now.
Yep. All right, Olivia, thank you so very much for giving us a peek into your world today. We are so excited to meet you in person in October and can't wait to see what's next for you. Coming up soon on the Sunshine Ladies Pod, we're going to chat with author Demi Winters. See you all next time. Bye.